I see care happening at Cathedral Home in a really intentional and relational way. I think that Cathedral Home not only offers really cool services that are helpful to youth in the community of Laramie, but the way that they provide it is really what makes it successful and work. I think youth and families can just come to Cathedral Home, whether that's residential crisis center or the resource center, and just be who they are, and we will see them with no judgment. They can come here and feel safe and welcome and appreciated no matter what difficult things they are experiencing.
I think I see care happening in a lot of different ways here at Cathedral Home. In my role, in the residential program, I think I see it, in our staff support for the kids, and talking to them about the tough times or their history, or positive things they have going on for them too. We have some kids really involved in the community and activism with volunteering or independent activities like getting jobs in town. And so I guess just the joy and togetherness I see on a day-to-day between the kids and themselves and the staff and the kids, and just being in it and doing stuff together.
I see care happening at the Cathedral Home every time I see a staff and a kid sitting down and laughing. I definitely just see care when kids are making meals together with the staff. They're joking around, they're having a good time, they're playing a game, and really just allowing kids to be kids, which is something that they don't always have in their lives. I see care every single time I see a staff teaching a kid how to do something, like tie a tie or how to clean something, that kind of stuff, and them kind of taking pride in it and seeing like, okay, well, I can do things.
Yeah, at Cathedral Home, you see care happening in a lot of different ways. Sometimes it can just be something as little as like an inside joke that you have with the clients that help them feel included, or it could be playing basketball with them for hours, or a lot of times what it looks like is asking them some hard questions that maybe no one else in their life has asked them before, getting them to think about their futures, what they want out of life, who they want to be.
I see it by a holistic approach. We provide care for kids on all the levels. We work with individual therapy, we do family therapy, we help them with life skills, we do cooking and cleaning, we provide a lot of one-on-one attention to them, and it makes them feel heard and seen. And we also help them if they're behind in school. We help them to get like ahead on or back on track or ahead on credits. We've helped kids get their GEDs or their high sets. So we really just try to focus on the individual and making sure that they are taken care of at all levels, and that they are happy and healthy and they can go back into the community and be functioning members of society. We try to repair those connections with their families, and yeah, I think we do a lot of outreach in the community, and we have the tech support line that we've paired with, and so I think we do a lot to provide care here.
Care at Cathedral Home can look very different each and every day, but I think the important part is that we're doing it in every single way that we possibly can. Something so simple as a smile for somebody and saying hello, holding the door for somebody, to being a larger part of their life and their day-to-day progress and success. Care is understanding that success comes differently for each of us. So for some of us, that could be waking up in the morning, getting ourselves to work, going grocery shopping, being alive, things like that. So I think that's something that we have to remember. Care can come just so differently for each of us.
One thing that I really admire about our agency is that we are, relationships based, really strengths focused for these kiddos. I think a lot of times in, various communities, they're oftentimes stigmatized. Children who have experienced, trauma, those types of things that maybe impact how they behave, how they respond to things. And we can kind of work with that. We make this a safe place to be themselves and really find, who they are, their strengths, their assets, help them develop assets, that kind of thing.
So when clients come to us through the application process or wherever they come from, they're coming with a lot of things that they're dealing with, whether it be home, school, stress, or whatever. And what I like to tell my team and what I like to embrace is having them feel comfortable and know that they have somebody that's going to listen and somebody that cares. If the client feels comfortable and safe, then we have a starting ground. We have a starting point to where we can start to work with them.
I think too, it's really important to Cathedral Home to provide compassion and understanding to whatever it is that youth and families are experiencing. Because we work with youth who have typically experienced trauma, we're dealing with kids and families that are going through one of the hardest parts of their life. And so with that, it's really important to Cathedral Home to have a trauma-informed approach. And what that means to me is that you're looking past managing behaviors and really wanting to get to the why, wanting kids to buy into the programs that we have and walk alongside them rather than be above them. And I think that that's a really cool thing that Cathedral Home does.
It's going based off of our relationships-based program. I think that it's proven that if kiddos have a positive adult relationship in their life, they are maybe more successful in certain areas. And I think that we do a really nice job of doing that.
I just see the care that we provide working here at Cathedral Home. I've worked with youth and families, like I said, who have been through some really difficult things and are going through one of the hardest times in their life. And getting to see kids be confident for the first time, seeing families reunite together, I believe that the care that we're providing is really working here.
I see care happening with people just showing up every day. And when staff, the RCPs or a coordinator or the therapist come in and, they got a smile on their face and the kids are happy to see them, that just tells me that what we're doing is we're doing it right. Nobody's ever excited to see somebody they don't like. And so when we show up and the kids are happy to see us, that means we're building the relationships with them. That means they're starting to trust us. They're starting to buy into the program. And I think that just shows that care is happening.
I have the fortune to work with staff on all levels in the various departments. And there's not a day that goes by that people aren't checking in with each other and offering support when it's needed. Beyond that, I think that trickles down really well to the kids. The kids see people genuinely engaging and connecting, and they want to be a part of it.
I think the care that our staff give to the clients is one of the best in the country, and I'm probably biased, but I stand by it. As our staff show up and they show out every single day. They show up for the clients, bad days, hard days, great days. They're there for them thick and thin, and you see how hard this job can be, and it's not for everybody, but the people that we have working in this agency, again, they just give the best care for the families, the clients that we're working with, the care for each other. So it's a great organization to work for.
I think it's really cool that we're investing so much in our workforce, and we're really focusing on that mental health and reminders that people aren't in it alone. We offer a lot of trainings specifically geared towards taking care of yourself so that you can be a more effective caregiver. And I think it's really cool that we have a culture for our staff and the people that make up this agency that doesn't just treat everyone like they're filling a hole, they're here for the job and nothing else. We value every individual.
Staff staying later, somebody else staying later to pick up a kid from in town, maybe from their job or from a sport that's getting back late, and everybody just pitching in to make sure that the kids are taken care of. I think that's care, and we do that in a bunch of different ways. But I think by showing up every day and sometimes staying later and making the kids smile and giving them the best opportunity to grow, that's just what we do here.
I see care happening in a lot of different ways. When I first started years ago, it was centered on residential clients and meeting that need, and to know that how big our scope is now of community and outpatient therapy, aftercare, all the things that we're able to do and not just focus on one part, because we have so many great people in this agency, and we can touch a lot of different people with the different care that we provide.
I think that we care a whole lot about a whole lot of people. I think that's the great thing about Cathedral Home is we have a residential care facility where we're caring for the kids here, and then we also have care for the community as well. We have our resource center and our youth crisis center who get to serve all of our community, which is fantastic.
I lastly see care happening at Cathedral Home through advocacy. I think that that's been a mission of Cathedral Homes, to not just provide the services to youth and families, but to really educate the Laramie community in the state of Wyoming, and hopefully take that further. I've had the privilege of working with law enforcement, doing suicide trainings with coaches, meeting with DFS, presenting our services at Cathedral Home to the Laramie community, and with that, educating our community in the state of Wyoming. It's stepping into it with them and wanting them to join us in what we're trying to do here.